today. She's about to join us. Guys, help me welcome today our wonderful guest. Her name is Millicent Musuwo. Millicent is a founder, a very creative founder of Executive Dynamics, and she's also a founding member, co-founder with her wonderful husband of Musuwo Logistics. She's a business analyst. She is a coach, but above all, she's a God-fearing woman, and she loves the Lord so much. One thing that really inspires me, Millicent, I've told her this, and I've written about this on my Facebook, is just how she loves and enjoy submitting, whether it's at church, whether it's at home, whether it's to the Lord. Wherever she goes, she just wants to play a role of really submitting and showing up to serve, right? And this is the most wonderful and dangerous skill that you can adopt. It is a skill to always show up to serve. Well, how's Millicent? Good evening. You are muted. You are muted.
Am I audible?
100%. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I think I was on mute all along. I was not aware.
Yeah. Sure.
And I can see I
You
can
can't see me?
like the engagement, but it's fine. I'm used to going live where I get to see people engaging.
Oh, I'm not sure why you can't see, but what I will do is I will share some of the engagements on the screen. Are you seeing Penwell's comment?
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah.
So what
it's
I
fine.
will do, I'll do
No,
that so that
it's
you can
fine.
see.
We can also, I think, rewatch, and then if there are any questions, we can always answer the questions.
Perfect.
Oh,
Perfect.
yeah. Okay. All right. Anyway, good evening, everyone. I am so honored to be here, doing what I love, impacting lives, and yeah, it is the backbone of my life. It's something that I enjoy doing. Even the businesses that we run, they're mainly like focused on saving. We enjoy saving so much. So yeah, thank you so much for having me.
It's a pleasure. It really is a pleasure. So we have Itumeleng Khaneng joining us. We really appreciate you, Itumeleng. We have Penwell Maihlangu, my wonderful friend, joining. Thank you so much, Penwell, for joining. Itumeleng says, I sense there is gonna be fire and ice today. Sure, Itumeleng, I really agree with you. So just tell us a little bit, Millicent Hore, just introduce yourself. I've introduced you, but I'd love to hear, who is Millicent, where are you from, and then we'll continue with the conversation.
Okay. I'm Millicent Musuwo, happily married, blessed with one child. And yeah, I'm a business analyst professional. I've always been. I studied IT.
Okay.
And when I say I've always been an IT professional, actually, let me say after I graduated, because there are other jobs that I had to do in order for me to graduate, which I don't know if you want us to get into that.
We will.
But yeah, but more than anything, I'm really looking forward to share my journey, share my story, and just to have the conversation. Yeah, and then we recently established a business, a logistic company, which is just mainly my husband's vision, the vision of the family, and I enjoy help. Actually, I think his vision is my priority, because I realize that the more I prioritize it, the more I get blessed. Before I even
so
serve
wonderful.
out there, if I serve at home, that's the more I actually get blessed in the marketplace. But yeah, that's pretty much about me, and yeah, and what I do.
Yeah. So I'm not allowed to share, or maybe because I have not asked for permission to share. But what I'm going to do is share vaguely what Millicent is talking about. On her husband's birthday, she gave her husband one of the most wonderful gifts ever, and it was to serve in in the business that is Musuwo Logistic. Like her husband was always saying, I want to start this business, I want to start this business. And Millicent, on that particular day of his birthday, she had desires, to purchase herself this and purchase herself that, and she invested in her husband's business. So she's not just saying, something to sound nice and to sound like a Proverbs 31 woman. She really enjoys doing it, and she puts her money where her mouth is. And I know Joe, as a wonderful husband, does the same as well. He invests a lot into Millicent's business as well. But we are not talking about the relationships today. We are talking about finances. I only shared that because it's a powerful concept of how, when you always show up to serve others, the residue is always profit and blessing. It's always
Yeah.
profit and blessing. So, as Millicent, I want us to talk about a particular moment. This is where I want us to start. I want us to
Okay.
go back to 2000, and I think it was 2020 or 2019.
Mm.
COVID hits, and
Yeah.
COVID disturbs, your business, or what you were doing at that particular time. Take
Yeah.
me and our community into that particular time. What did it feel like? What happened?
Okay. So like I said, I studied IT, and then, like, when you graduate, you get an internship program. After getting an internship program, and then if you work hard, of course, then they take you. So that was my journey. So after completing my internship program, I joined the first company that I worked for, and then I was like a full-time employee trying to get the experience. And after that, after I've gotten some experience, I felt like, you know what, I really want to go into consulting. I think I was born to be an entrepreneur. I think so, because I've always wanted to be independent. I want to independently solve problems, and I think
Sure.
that's what differentiates an employee from someone who just want to run their own vision, right?
Mm,
So 2019, I joined this consulting company. So they get projects for you, and then they place you on different projects, right?
okay.
So when there is no project, they will say you are going to be on the bench. On the bench means like there's nothing going on for you.
You are just
So
waiting.
you just sitting at home, right? So 2019 April I joined, and then come 2020, consulting houses were not getting lots of projects, because
Mm,
if you
mm,
remember, well, people were actually losing jobs, companies were going
yes.
down, a lot happened. So even in consulting, there were no active projects because companies were trying to save the little that they had,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I was at home. I was at my apartment. At that time, I was still single. I wasn't working yet. So I asked myself, do I go back home?
Mm,
Okay, if I stay in mid rent, what's going to pay for my rent?
mm,
What's going to pay for
mm,
my bills? Like, what am I
mm,
going to do? Right? So
mm,
then I was like, you know what? Let me look into my hands. What do I have?
mm,
When I say looking into my hands, I was referring to the skills, my natural
mm,
talents, that I
mm.
believe every single person, everyone who's watching here, has something that they can offer to the world
Yeah.
that they did not go to school for, but you were just born with the passion. And maybe going to school, it is just a matter of refining it, right?
Yeah.
So then
Yeah.
I asked myself, what do I have? And I realized that, you know what, I love baking, I love cooking. Maybe I can keep myself busy with doing that. And I that's when I started baking. I started forcing the contacts on my WhatsApp to actually taste my scones. And I
Oh,
remember
okay.
texting my friends to say, I will be delivering tomorrow. Kana, must I deliver 2 liter or 5 liter for you? Because I needed the marketing to go on, which is like a word of mouth. But really, what made it a success is the realization of what you have in your hands, what you were born,
Mm,
which was what I was passionate about. And then the minute I decided that instead of going back to Limpopo, let me go and buy ingredients and start baking. So I bought ingredients, I started baking. My friends and my contact, I started posting on my WhatsApp. Also, WhatsApp is one of the things that you have in your hands. Your phone is one of the things that you have in your hands. Access to
Literally.
internet is one of the things, the tools that you have in your hands. What are you
Mm,
doing
mm,
about it?
mm.
So I started posting. People started liking my posts. They're like, "Yo, they really look yummy,"
Yeah.
And they started ordering. Before I knew it, I was busy. I remember even my husband. He was my boyfriend then. Actually, my mother-in-law was like, you need to help her, because she used to love the way I would bake, and I think we share the same passion. So
Okay.
he would come and help me. Maybe with deliveries that were far, and yeah, it was so nice, man. So because it's something that I was passionate about, it does not feel like work. You do it with love. It's
Yeah.
actually even nicer than having to go to a job. So this
Mm,
one,
mm.
I would take orders maybe during the day to say, if you want your orders today, please make sure, I mean the following day, please make sure that you order before 12, and then I would
Sure.
know, okay, this is the capacity that I need for the
Yeah.
night. So
Yeah.
bake through the night, and then in the morning take 2 hours of sleep, wake up, I'm already excited to
Yeah.
start delivering scones. Trust me, I had lots of orders, like the
Yeah.
funerals,
Sure.
I was baking for them, and I managed to pay my bills. I
Wow.
reinvented.
Yeah, well done, well done. We really celebrate you. Now, as
Mm,
Millicent, someone might be listening to you and be saying, yeah, it was so easy for you to just stay in mid-rent.
mm,
And but Mina, I'm a breadwinner at home. There's so many things to really consider. And you
mm.
said I made a decision, but I believe that wasn't an easy decision to make because there were bills, but there was also your family that's also
Yeah,
dependent on you.
yeah.
Just take me through how difficult that decision was to make, and what do you say to someone who is in the same situation and is like, hey, do I leave, do I stay? Talk to us.
The thing, what I can assure you is that, not that you cannot, I think it's the confidence that you do not have. And I want to tell you that from that, what I've learned is that when God created us, He deposited something unique in you. So then you do not need to rely on your own strength and ability, even if that gift is deposited in you. Your confidence must be in the Holy Spirit, right? And then He will show you. And I always say, if you can really think about it, if you are doing what God said you must do and you are executing it the way He said you must do, most of the time you don't even need capital. You don't even need
Mm,
money. He will give you the wisdom. So
mm,
you see, now that's when the more He gives you the wisdom and guides you, is the more your confidence grows. So you will
mm,
tell your neighbor, I've decided to not go home, and they'll
mm,
go like, are you for real? What are you gonna do?
mm,
No, I'm gonna sell sweets. They're like,
mm,
what is it? Because your confidence is in the Holy Spirit, you know exactly how
mm.
you're gonna make it work. Just to
Mm.
share an interesting part of this story, I
Sure.
I don't want to risk using my last money to buy the ingredients. You know what I did? I started taking pre-orders after I baked for myself. With the pre-order, because I said payment secure your order. I went to buy a stove for 900 at have the oven that I had at that time, it wasn't working. So I needed, you see that two plate stove that
Yeah.
has an oven. It was 900 rands at Chakas at Mall of Africa. So I used the pre-order money to start the business. And then I went to this other shop. I used Google. I had access to internet to look for a place where I can get these things. They were selling them in bulk. If you want margarine, I wasn't buying those expensive ones
Mm,
like
mm,
dirham. I would get one for 10 kg like this at a very reasonable price with the money that people paid to pre-order the scones.
mm,
So, but that can never really happen through your own ability. Like,
Mm,
it has to be some guidance of the Holy Spirit giving you the strategies, and that is where my confidence grew, you know. So
mm,
firstly, what I can say is, yes, the situation is difficult. I mean, feeling uncertain is not a good feeling, right?
mm, mm,
But
mm.
when your confidence is in the one who does not fail, the Holy
Oh,
Spirit, our helper, it's a game changer. For me, that's what
yeah,
happens. And the secret is I just work with him. Like, I just tell
yeah,
him, like, the same way you call a friend and say, this is what I think. That's the same. That's literally how I get to tell God, or yo, maybe I should do this. And also, the other thing that I learned is spending time alone helps during that season, you know, because you're not distracted by too many voices advising you.
mm, mm,
And
mm,
put this don't just like put your stories out there, you know. Don't rush to tell, because you might hear discouraging voices and then they just
mm,
overpower
mm,
you. But when
mm,
when you learn the art of spending time alone, you are clear, you are able to think,
mm.
and you now allow your ears to be attentive to the guidance of the Holy Spirit. So
Yeah,
if you are doing what you're passionate about and what you know
mm,
for sure that it is a
yeah.
unique, there's a market for you. When you work
Ah,
with God, He will give you strategies that will set you up for that market.
sure. This is just such a wonderful story. Penuel is saying beautiful story. Ausnozuko Nzebe is saying beautiful story. Wow, Anna, it definitely is a beautiful story. And you know, this story is not necessarily about baking. For
Mm,
me, it is about a couple of things. One is what is in your hand, and this is what as Millicent was saying. It's she asked herself, what do I have, you know, ezandleni zami? And all of us have different things that the
mm,
Lord has given us. For him, it was for her, it was a skill to bake. The other thing that was so wonderful is the the strategy sau pre-order. That was so exceptional. And I learned this strategy as well from authors who say pre-order our book. And I want to tell you, sometimes we say pre-order. With my first book, I didn't have the money to go print the first batch of books. So I asked people to pre-order, and that's how we used their money to sell them our book. So if you are saying, hey, I don't have the money, well, even some of the great business people did not have the money. They went to the bank and they took the money that you saved. The bank took the money that you saved, borrowed it to them to go and start a business that you are now buying from. So you can use the same strategy with your friends that are on Facebook and say, hey, pre-order, and we will give you this particular um, ntwe, barking product and so on. So, as Millicent, tell us about where you are currently. Are you still doing scones? What are you
no.
doing at the moment?
I think scones was like selling scones was actually a seasonal business. Every time I say this, my husband is like, you could be owning a bakery by now. Just
Sure.
yesterday I received a landline, someone telling me that we really need scones. I was hoping that you are still in business. I think maybe I'll probably go back to it. It's a lot of work. So currently I'm still a BA, but I am no longer an employee. I'm now consulting as a company myself. So yeah, that's where I am, and it's been challenging, but at the same time liberating, knowing that I am actually going to work, but I am going to work to sit with other employees, but I'm actually a third party. I'm a supplier to them. When they receive pay slips at the end of the day, I send an invoice for the hours that I've worked. So that's what I'm doing. And then the other thing, I'm saving in my husband's business. um Musuwo Logistics, we are about to launch our courier in a few weeks. It's going to be like a courier application that we've been building for the past, I think, 4 months. We in testing stage now. Everything is ready. We are ready to start trading. So my interest in business actually brought me here, so I was able to turn the 9 to 5 that I was enjoying so much, and it felt like stability for me, to be honest. So I turned that into business. I'm still an entrepreneur, but still doing the things that I love. So yeah.
Sure. This is beautiful, eh? I wrote on chats that you went from the bench to your own business.
To my
Yeah,
yeah.
that's amazing because in football we have, or even in any sport, we have
Mm,
people that are called bench warmers,
mm,
because maybe they are not as talented as your regular starters. And
yeah,
there are a lot of us that sometimes feel like, hey, I'm not as talented as so and so. Hey, I'm on the bench a lot of times when it comes to baking, consulting, speaking. I'm not the
mm,
finest. One of my teachers once said to one of our classmates, he said, "You are not the sharpest pencil in class." And there are a lot
mm,
of us who feel like that. And what I am hearing from your story is that you are not, and I put this respectfully in inverted commas, you didn't
mm,
grow up being the sharpest, the first, and all of this, yet
mm.
somehow you seem to win, fam. What do you say is the secret?
You know what? Every time I say this, I feel like I'm not being practical. But really, guys, I download all the strategies through prayer. Like I wrote my
Mm,
status the other day, and I was like, I don't know where I would be without the communion with God, because I
mm,
feel like if you work outside of, like, I think if you really want to reinvent yourself, ne, you need to, I mean, cultivating a prayer life is one of the steps, right?
mm, mm,
Because you need guidance. You are not going to copy what Mr. Vusi is doing. You're not going to copy what I am doing. It might not work for your
mm,
journey, because what we have, like what he said, what we have in our hands is different. What I have in my hand, what I'm skilled with, is different from what person B is skilled with. To be honest, I would say it starts there, right?
okay.
Starts with prayer, and then secondly, discipline.
Mm,
Discipline in terms, it comes in so many ways. Maybe in terms of managing your time as well. I always hear a lot of people say, you know what, the issue with me is time. It's time. Actually,
mm,
I
mm,
just want to, I this year I want this idea to work. I'm tired of suffering. I'm tired of doing the problem is time. And I'm like, it is impossible to not have time for such things. It's just
mm,
a matter of disciplining yourself enough to intentionally make time for that. I speak to a lot of clients who consult me for their execution, who'd say, you know what, my problem is I'm a mom. I do this. I do this. I go to work. I Trust me, there was a time I was doing so many things at the same time, but I was
and you
excelling
still
because
do, fam.
I mastered the skill of managing my time. I go
Yeah.
to detail as far as writing to say from 8 to, for example, there were times I was doing both 9 to 5 and I was still trying to establish business on the side. You know what I would do? I would wake up very early so that I can do what that side hustle thing, or my side thing that I'm trying to build, that is going to replace my 9 to 5. And then during 9 to 5, I do my 9 to 5. It's a matter of also willing to sacrifice something, sacrifice a few hours of sleep, but it's going
Mm,
to be
mm,
necessary, you know. It
mm,
starts with prayer, and then it is discipline, and
discipline.
then intentionality. Be
Mm,
intentional, you know. So yeah, and you cannot pray about something and say you want change, and then you the following day you just see it, and you are not intentionally making changes. You're not intentionally planning for your time. I always say planning for your time also protects you from so many distractions, because when someone come and say, hey, can I see a call, your plan protects you. You look at the plan, you're like, I can't take the call right now. I've to work on these three things in the next 2 hours. Can we talk after 10 a.m.? Do you see that you have time? Because distractions will come, invites will come, things that you need. Before you know it, you are busy with
Mm,
other things, and nothing that actually bring you closer to achieving your goal of, reinventing yourself. So if
sure.
you reinvent yourself, for me, how I reinvented myself, I cultivated a prayer life, a relationship with God, because I understood that no matter how many ideas I think I need to work with God to know which path I need to take. Just like there's a verse actually in the book of Proverbs that says, in all you do, seek the will of God so that
Mm,
He can which path to take. That's it. That's where you're gonna get all the direction, all the strategies. I could be taking a shower and God just dropped the app idea, and then the
oof,
minute I get excited about it and make time about it, when you start writing, because you have a prayer life, you start to have ideas on how you're gonna do it. When I was selling the scones, the way I was packaging them, I think it's now like everyone is doing it now, but it was different in the market. And that's where I would get the comments to say, we love the way it's packaged. But trust me, those things, they come from the help of the Holy Spirit when
mm,
you work
mm,
with Him. So
mm.
prayer, discipline, and intentionality.
Sure. We'll come back to these 3 points. They are so powerful. I want us to really delve into each of them, just to give 1 point in terms of
Mm,
prayer, talking about how. But before we
mm,
go there, you mentioned that even the way that you packaged your scones, was
mm.
different in the market. It was really sort of like pioneering something that others were not doing. And I know
Mm.
this to be a a a trade with you, even how you
Yeah,
package your, do I have it here? I normally have it just next to me. Your book, your execution workbook, it's like excellently done. When I come
yeah.
to your workshops, they are excellently done. It seems like you have a certain mindset in terms of how you do things, no matter how small or how big. So talk to us about that mindset when we are reinventing, and what name would you give to that mindset?
I would say think big while you're small, right?
Hmm.
We can tell your people, the people of your assignment or your market, they can tell when you are just doing things for the sake of doing them. And we can tell even with the little budget that you have, that you this is the best, this is the highest level of your excellence, right?
Hmm.
So what I do, I don't imagine myself small, I imagine myself big.
Ooh,
So
please
then
repeat
that
that.
automatically just make you wanna do things up to the standard of the picture that you imagine of what you're doing. In our business in Musuwo Logistics, when we started the past 6 months, we only had one bike. But the way we were executing things, we only have one team member. Meetings were held at boardrooms, the same way the biggest or largest logistic company do things.
Mm.
Because that's how we challenge our mindset to say we are this big. Because you are.
Shoo.
It's just that you just have to go through the process. So
Mm.
budget allows, if resources allows, think big. You don't need to execute like a small business. You don't I always say, stop having this mindset of I'm black, I'm woman, I'm no.
Mm, mm,
So
mm.
what if your market is white people? What's going to happen to you? No one is going to, at some point, that is not going to save you. Just have the excellent mindset, but also what makes you achieve that is how you think of whatever that you're doing, your craft. If you
Sure.
think it's small, you're just gonna treat it like it's, think big. See yourself already. If you're hosting events or like I do, I already imagine execution workshop being done in some auditorium in Australia or somewhere where I'm having all the people in Africa come. That's how I see it. So I give it my best, and
Sure.
I want like that. So for me, I think it's thinking big, even if you are small. Don't think
Sure.
small.
Sure. This is powerful, and what I love about what you said is think
Mm,
big because you are already big, right?
mm,
Because
mm.
to God we are already big. We are, it's just the process. And you said that it's, you
Yeah,
said it's just a process of you getting there, but you are already big. So if you are thinking big, you are not faking it. There's no such thing as you are faking it. You are really thinking to the level that God has created you to be and how He sees
yeah,
you. Oh, this is powerful. Let me just check what people are saying on comments. I just want us to really digest what you said. That
yeah,
really hit me big time. Okay, so yeah, Karabo says your plan protects you. Definitely, Karabo. And Bantu Bonke did some fires there. Obakeng Olaine, thank you so much, Obakeng, from joining. Thank you, Obakeng. And Elisa says, think big while you are small. Definitely. Obakeng invited Nteo Tyson Mutlabe. He must join. He must join. And then said, what if your market is white people? That's wonderful. That's wonderful. As far as your eyes can see, think wide, think big.
yeah,
Definitely, Itumeleng. Definitely, that's so true. That's so true. One of
yeah.
the habits that, when I review, because I study my friends, right? And one of the things that I really reviewed and noticed from you is it's really how you take planning serious. You did say at first that I'm going to talk about God, but it can easily be interpreted as not putting in the work, right? So
Yeah.
you actually, as much as you depend on God, you actually
Mm,
put a lot of work into
yeah.
planning, executing, and making sure that things align.
Yeah.
So talk to us about some of the ways you plan your day and how you set yourself for success.
Okay. So I don't start by planning for the day. If let's say maybe there is something that I'm aiming for, I start there.
Okay.
I remember I think the first questions that I would ask myself like would say, what is the most important thing to me? Right?
Okay.
Um and then, or what is it that I want to achieve? What is this thing that really bothers me? So if it's business that I really want to start, and bringing change in my life, in my loved ones or whatever, or just solving a problem, so then from that, then you break it down into goals, right? So
Okay.
that's how I you I for me, if I have to plan for the day, it means I'm doing these things that are helping me achieve what I'm aiming for. So then
Sure.
my day,
Sure.
my hours, my time is already taken by the most important thing in my life. So then the other things, then I get to accommodate them. So once I have a full
Mm,
picture of this thing that I'm aiming for in life, right? And then now I'm
mm,
gonna, what is it that is gonna take me to achieve this? Then I wrote those
mm,
things down. So if you want to use the calendar or the year to measure your success or your progress or whatever, I've just learned that, you know what, I know what I want to achieve this year, but I want to use my time to do the things that I want to do, activities or tasks that will bring me closer to what I want to achieve. Right?
mm,
Everyone has time. So then I
mm,
say in quarter one, what is it? What is the little piece of work that I can achieve that will bring me closer to the big thing that I
mm,
probably want to achieve in
mm,
5 years, 2 years,
mm,
or the in the coming year. So then I focus on that in quarter one. Between Jan and March, this is what I'm focusing on. I'm not going to accommodate anything. So every day I do a task that bring me closer to achieving that.
Mm.
So that's how you break it down, and then it becomes your lifestyle. So it
Mm.
becomes you. So when people ask you if you're busy or you whatever, you know you are aiming for something in life. So it
Sure.
really, you don't just wake up and say, okay, I'm planning for my day, daycare, and then this, and then there has to be something that you are aiming for, so that even in your planning, there is consistency in your own lifestyle,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So now then it automatically channel you to your interests, your relationships, the places you go to. You realize that, you know what, just for just having a desire to plan for my time actually just changed my life altogether,
Mm.
because I'm aiming for this. I'm suddenly attending reinvent yourself,
Yeah.
this,
Yeah.
I'm suddenly investing in attending this kind of business seminars. I'm now going to baking school because I really want to achieve this. I want to do so. It then now planning for your time, you enjoy the lifestyle. Like
Yeah.
it's no
Yeah.
longer ukari you ukari ukatronkong, like ukari your
Yeah.
sentence. I plan for my, no, it becomes you. It's a part
Yeah.
of you. So when you
Yeah.
wake up every morning, your calendar defines who you are.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
spend time being you, and
Yeah.
be an organized you, because now
Yeah.
you are on what you accommodate, what you do, what you don't do. So yeah, for me, I'm big on planning. And then on other things that are not related to my purpose, my passion, my business, or
Mm.
whatever, I also plan.
Mm.
If it's sometimes maybe my husband would say, I saw this ish, I think it's nice. I'm like, was there a plan? We always have to remind each other, did we plan for it? You know.
Mm. Mm.
But in small things, yes. But financially, I plan for little things like how can I achieve to get the wardrobe, or how
Mm.
can we buy a headpot for our
Mm.
bedroom? Okay,
Mm.
how much is it? How can we plan? How can we save it? How can we
Mm.
save towards that? And I realized that when I started doing that in my finances, you the thing is, you get to have discipline in many other areas of your life,
Yeah.
and it's not
Yeah.
not only that. Even if you told yourself that you want to establish a healthy lifestyle, you want to eat well, because you master discipline in managing your finances, automatically the muscle then helps you to also master sticking to your decision of eating well. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
paid for planning.
Yeah. Sure.
Nora is part of the life, and she always say, I have never met a planner like you. And I
Yeah.
get worse, if worse is the right word, every year I want to plan, like because it works. You know, the
It
results
does.
are permanent because you
Yeah.
thought about it and you planned for it, you
Yeah.
know.
Sure. This is amazing. This is amazing. So, what you are saying is that you do not just start planning without an aim or a target.
Mm,
It's like if I was going to a shooting range, I just don't start getting the gun, cocking without really knowing after
what you aim.
here, what am I shooting at?
Mm,
Right.
yeah,
So, that's powerful. And one of the things you said you accommodate other things. That sounds to me like you prioritize purpose and you
mm,
accommodate whatever needs to be accommodated. And I feel like a lot of us do it vice versa. We are the upside down or vice versa generation where we prioritize everything else and we just want
mm,
to see where we can accommodate purpose. Like nka
yeah,
ikentsha kae this thing ya business.
mm,
Nka ikentsha, we prioritize everything else and accommodate our purpose.
yeah,
And you are saying, no, no, no. Now I actually prioritize purpose. And when there is time, I can then accommodate all these little
yeah,
things. So intentionality is really, really, really powerful. I
mm,
want to move to, because we have spoken about intentionality, to the other thing. But before I move, um, I've seen a lot of people, like people will say, hey, the time kiso be engaged, or before I caught this guy or this woman, no one was proposing or coming to me. All of a sudden they come. Or before Kipolo, man, my life was easy. Now it's difficult. And that's actually a norm in life, that whenever you want to focus on something, there seems like distraction now all of a
Okay.
sudden. Yabulelwa, right?
Yeah.
So how do you navigate that? Because I can understand someone says, oh, now I'm going to be so intentional. And I'm sure
Mm.
with that, there's also going to be a flood of distractions. How do you work around that?
Okay. For me, I put a plan in place. And I that protect me from even myself, right? I'll give
Ah,
an example.
okay.
I would yeah, I would wake up with the plan or a to-do list, things that I'm gonna focus on, because these days I even put timestamps so that I don't say, oh, let me check someone's status. I always know if I'm going to work on this admin, I only have an hour. If I'm wasting it on WhatsApp viewing statuses, I'm not gonna get it, because I told myself that 4 o'clock is family time. I have to knock off. I
Mm,
can't
mm,
be
mm,
making up for work during hours that I need to, because this life needs balance. During time where my child needs the mom, or my husband need a wife, or they need to be fed, or So I would plan and say, this is what I'm gonna do. And then I wake up. Then now there's so many ideas, and those can be distractions as well. There's so many ideas. um you know what, actually I think I can call mama. They can actually
mm,
uh
mm,
be part of this. Let me do this, let me do this. Those are distractions. So I always go back to the plan to say, it's not part of the plan. Nice idea, Millicent, but it's not part of the plan. So
stick to the
distractions,
plan.
guys,
Sure.
can come in a form of just keep overtaking
Mm,
what you're supposed to be doing between 8 and 9, right? Instead
mm,
of
mm,
that when you are busy with other things. And then
mm,
how I overcome it again is through a plan, if I'm going to be practical. And sometimes distraction can come in a form of good opportunities, right?
mm,
I'll give an example.
mm,
This one time, like I'm now, my life I think is structured because I know exactly what I'm offering. In execution, dynamics has everything to do with my purpose, and in our family business, I know my role there and how I get to how we meet each other halfway, my husband and I, right? And then
yeah,
this one time I got an opportunity to go study a master's degree. But that
yeah,
year I had a plan, I had things that I'm aiming for, and studying a master's is not part of it. And looking at it, it's a good thing, it's a good degree, but not for my journey. I'm not going to use it anywhere.
sure.
Looking at where I'm aiming to get. So sometimes
Mhm,
distractions come as good opportunities like that. So you're
mm,
like, oh,
mm,
who gets to study at Harvard for free, and now you focus
mm,
and you
mm,
neglect the most important thing that you're supposed to be doing. And then you are frustrated in that
sure,
master's. You are unfulfilled, you got it, and then you delayed, and then you feel like you need to pick up where you left off, yet you have this paper. So
sure.
a plan protects you, because you would have planned for the year, and you know what you're aiming for in life, and you
Yeah,
know for sure something that you were born to do,
yeah.
and you prioritizing that. Anything that even looks good, distractions will never come looking like bad ideas.
Hey, I hear you.
Wonderful, but
Yeah,
you need to that it's not part of my plan.
yeah. Oh, that's
Yeah.
wonderful what you are saying. That's so powerful. There is
Mm,
a quote that I like that says, I think a book is even written on it, that good
mm,
is the enemy of great. And
mm,
I see that a lot, even with clients sometimes that I coach, that just
mm,
wants to settle for something that is good when they can be great. And
yeah.
in the Bible, there's actually an example of that in Genesis chapter 2. The Bible
Mm,
says before there was a plant or a herb growing, it then says
mm,
because the Lord had not caused it to rain. Then it says
mm,
but there was a mist coming up from the ground, watering
yeah.
the earth. And I always thought about it. Say, if that mist was watering the earth, why was it not watering it enough to be able to produce the fruit
Mm,
and the herb? So it means that the mist was good enough, but not great. you know. So there are
Yeah.
things that are like the mist in our life that are good. They just make us nyana or feel watered, but they are
Yeah.
not really part of the goal and the aim. All right,
Yeah.
so we get it in terms of intentionality. Fem, I'm going to share banking details if any of you do want to give into these sessions. However, it's not compulsory anything. These are free sessions, but we do want to give you an opportunity to give if you do want to give, or if the Lord touches you. That's all. Now, aus Millicent, let's move to the one thing, yeah, prayer. And I want to say this is not a description. Millicent is not going to say, this is how you ought to pray. But I'm sure there are things that you have learned in terms of prayer that you can share with us to say, hey, look, when you are reinventing, pray, maybe do it this way, or do this, or this is how I do it. Anything that you can share, of course, in the confines of people not thinking, hore, they should copy you.
Yeah, yeah, of course. Thanks for making it here, because it's really, I cannot really say this is the formula. Like, my experience is not a
Sure.
standard, and my
Yeah.
experience with God is a standard. But what I can say is I have learned to pray to God like how I would. Okay, I take prayer as hanging out with God. The
Sure.
same way you hang out with your father, your
Mm,
physical father.
mm,
And sometimes you, especially when you're going through a season of reinvention, like, it's not, there's nothing cute about that season. um
mm,
One to For me at that time when I had to sell scones, if I was any other child, I was just gonna go back home, because I'll find mom and dad be in
mm,
their room,
mm,
and they will have to worry about what I have to eat. So my
mm,
reality is I'm the one who is supposed to worry about what are people who are depending on me going to eat if I go back
mm,
home.
mm, mm.
I really have to do something so that I can maintain, continue to be a breadwinner,
Yeah,
continue to,
yeah,
take my siblings to school and stuff like that. So it's okay to tell God how you feel, because there's nothing cute about reinvention. You know,
mm, mm,
you can just literally, they, like I'm saying, the same, be naked like David. If you study the book of Psalm, he would just tell God, and then at the end, somehow, what prayer does to you, you end it with praises. You suddenly
yes,
remember
yes,
who you're
yes,
dealing with, so he can start venting sometimes. Prayer is
yeah,
not always good and praises, and you can start venting to say, Lord, I am
yeah,
tired. I
yeah,
want this to change, and I open my heart for you to show me the way.
mm,
I'm
mm,
tired. Why am I not this? It's okay to, vent to God like that. And when you learn that art, you're gonna realize that no, man, it's not every voice that I need to open myself to by venting to the wrong people.
yeah,
God must be
yeah,
primary place of rescue, or where I run to when I feel some type
mm,
of way. And then
mm,
you will just be led to the right people. Sometimes I know you need physical people to speak into your life, but it has to be God led. But it is only when you cry to them and somehow you just find a friend who just happened to make sense, and when they speak, you feel like this is actually God speaking to me in a
yeah,
human form.
yeah,
But it would
yeah.
have started with you starting with God, and not picking up the call and start venting to the wrong people. So
Oof,
I would say, if more than anything, go to God exactly how you are, how you feel.
yeah,
Tell him,
yeah,
open with him that way. And he will grow you. Like I said, I'm telling you, if you go to God venting about how you feel, how you desperately need this situation to, you will end that prayer with praises. There's just
ah,
something that makes you want to remember, oh, okay, I am dealing with the God of gods
yeah,
here. You're
yeah,
gonna end up telling him
yeah,
who he is. And the beautiful part of it, of life, and the process of reinvention, I think everyone go through it. If I'm not mistaken, no one ever have their days perfect, going
yeah,
well. every day. We all navigate through different seasons, but the beauty of it is that when you have a prayer life, you get to see God revealing himself.
Yeah.
You're not gonna say, God, you are the healer, God, you are the provider, because Mr. Vusi gave a testimony, but you
Yeah.
know him personally. You've seen
Yeah.
him do it. So count it as joy when you go through a season of reinvention.
Sure.
Because you have
Wonderful. Wonderful.
to know God for who he is
Mm,
for
mm,
you, you
mm.
know.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's so great. I think what stood out, Elisa shared it, that is that, take it as just hanging out with God. Just
Mm,
have a conversation as if you were conversing with a friend. Um,
mm,
my wife and I have an agreement that we we will never bring a complaint to each other before we have taken it to the Lord. So if it's a complaint, it must first go to the Lord. If it's a
mm.
compliment, then it can come first to the person. And I've
Yeah.
found we learned this after we had to reinvent, or practice this after we had to reinvent our marriage. And
Mm,
what we have found is that some of those things, after you've taken them to the Lord, all of a sudden when you get out, you're like, it's such a small thing. Should I even bother my wife with this thing? This
yeah.
thing, like, I'm not even going to bother, you know? And
Yeah.
and sometimes you come back, that person is like, oh, about yesterday, I'm so sorry. You're like, but I told God,
Yeah.
yeah. And when you
Eh,
told the Lord, you were telling on the Lord. So I think what Aus Millicent is saying is, in terms of your finances, whatever you're wanting to prevent, tell on the Lord, and tell the Lord rather than friends and all of that. Okay.
mm,
So Aus Millicent, I'm going to give you
mm,
2 minutes just to
yeah.
speak from your heart. I'm going to
Mm,
even remove myself from the screen. Um, what would you say to a younger Millicent that
mm,
is stuck in 2019, or a younger Millicent that is back home and really struggling, financially, and really wants to come up hither, wants to change their life? I'm going to go off screen and just give you to speak from the heart as the Lord leads you, and just to pour out. And then I'm going to come back to just, I really appreciate you, and say goodbye. Now, to the rest of the people, you can write your questions if you have them, or your comments, please. In as much as Millicent has given all to you and complimented you and empowered you, it would be nice for you to say something back, please. Okay, so as Millicent, the stage is yours.
okay. Sure. To a younger Millicent, I would say, stop worrying. And there is a reason why you're coming from the kind of background that you're coming from. As much as you think you did not deserve to be the one to take that seat, but you look into your hands, I want you to realize that God was intentional about it, and He's given you every single thing that you need in order for you to run that office, or to be on that seat. So yeah, keep working with God, keep trusting Him, find joy in doing what He has called you to do. You never know, maybe you are the Joseph of your family, maybe you are the Joseph of your community. But one thing that you need to know is that for every phase of your role, God has always provided everything that you need, and that should be your confidence that you've got everything that you need to fulfill the role. You've got everything that you need. To win in the season and to reinvent yourself. So, like I said, count it all joy when you're faced with this particular season, because you are just about to witness the goodness of God and tell people about who God is, because He is a limit. He is not a limited God. You cannot limit to say God is this. So as you work with him, and you as you allow him to use you, and as you challenge your perspective on how you view the current season of your life, you're gonna realize that actually life is a test on its own. So yeah, thank you so much.
Oh, that was good. That was good. Wow. That was wonderful, Aus Millicent. Thank you. Thank you so, so, so much. Family, please do share questions if you have them. And tell us, what was your highlight? What was your highlight from this conversation? Aus Millicent, what was your highlight? I'm going to answer first. What was my highlight? Then you can share, even though you were doing most of the talking, but what was your highlight? So my highlight,
Love it.
my highlight, was when you said you prioritize your purpose and you accommodate other things. It really resonated and took me back to the scriptures. I will first seek the kingdom and all these things would be added. And I took it as though you are first seeking after the purpose of God in your life, and everything else he adds. And yeah, and on a day to day, I think that's what I'm going to take. Each day I'm going to ask myself, what's this one thing that the Lord wants me to seek after today? And then
Yeah,
everything else can be accommodated, not
yeah,
accommodating everyone else and then wanting to prioritize them and accommodate um, my purpose. So that was my highlight. Then, yeah, share your highlight, and then give a challenge. Sorry, give a challenge, because this is a challenge. There's one thing I want everyone to do after the session. So if you were to say, hey, from today, go and sit down with your pen and paper and ask the Lord this, that's fine. If you say, hey, the challenge for today is go and do this, whatever challenge you want to give them after you have shared your highlight.
okay. So I can say, okay, what my highlight for today is the fact that we didn't prepare for anything. I have no notes, I have nothing. And the conversation was really authentic. And I believe it was relatable. And yeah, that was my highlight about the conversation. And I glorify God for that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And what I can challenge everyone who's watching is go and start planning for your time. From now on, tell yourself, I'm not going to jump into the new day.
Mm,
Um,
mm,
you how the day will go. Don't jump into the new week. And then yeah, start planning for your time. Even if it's just to
mm,
plan a list of things that you need to do. Even if it's simple things like if you are a stay-home mom, folding laundry, doing this. If you're finding joy in doing those things, plan for those things that you want to do and actually show up for your plan.
Wow, this was so wonderful. Before I say my appreciations and let you go, before that, but yeah, today was great, hey, in its unique way from yesterday. Yesterday as well. What I love is that these shows are so unique. Yesterday
Mm.
was powerful, shoo, in its own way, and today so different yet so relevant. Let me read for you what people are saying. Kanye, you said you can't see them, ne? But when I
Yeah.
share them, okay, when I share them, you can see them. Penuel says, wow, thank you for your personality and story. It makes one to think I can too. Sure, that means your
Yeah.
story really is inspirational. Bantu Bonke says, my highlight is think big while you are still small. Yeah, yeah, Bantu, I think that one was also very big for me. That's every time, even now with my book, I'm going to ask myself, if I was a bestseller, how would I launch this? How would I do this? So I'm going to think big while things still look small. Okay. And then um, Anna said, I'm inspired and thank you for the session. I am a step ahead of reinventing myself. Millicent Musuwo, you are a powerhouse and a game changer, a vessel of honor. Vusi Kokela, thank you for hearing God with reinvention sessions. Thank you so much. Powerful and life changing. Itu, you are a blessing. Thank you. Itumeleng says, Itumeleng, I am going to give you a free copy of Conqueror's Creed. Please reach out to me. You have attended all 4 sessions. You have shared all 4 sessions. You have highlighted and every day I see you tag people. You have shared every post, even a photo. Yeah, Millicent, you shared, like you are sold out. And I'm going to give you a copy of Conqueror's Creed. Just inbox me your what you call it, your actually I'll give you 2 copies. I'll give you your remaps and give you your Conqueror's Creed. Those are equivalent to 12 sessions each. So that's about 24 sessions coaching, which go up to 10,000, and I'm just going to give them to you for free. Okay, sometimes distraction and disturbance can come in a form of good things. So that was your highlight, so that you lose focus of the greatness set before you. That is Luke. But be disciplined, be intentional. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And then Elisa said, I do not necessarily have a comment, but she just put in words my thoughts that are just hanging in my mind and not knowing how to put them out there. She's just a breath of fresh air. When she speaks, she always delivers nuggets and God's heart. Thank you, Ma Musuo. Hey, what a meet someone at young Ma Musuo. Ma Musuo, thank you so much for really, really honoring this invitation. I really appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. You know, if I can, if I had all the money that I wish I have for now, you know, I would do such wonderful appreciation for you and Mudise Maobane. But for today, all I can say is really thank you for honoring this time. Please continue to be a blessing. We continue to pray for you and your family. And hopefully, I will see you on the 3rd of Feb. Yeah, for now I'm not committing to come, because lately I'm learning my word is by bond. If I say I am, I must. But I do really wish to come. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of your evening. I did hear Ruva calling you in the
Yeah,
background, so more attend.
yeah, right. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. Bye bye. So, guys, don't forget the challenge that she gave us. She said, go and plan. Find a planning tool. There are so many planning tools out there. If you don't know where to start, really, what you can do is Google and say, what are daily planners or daily planning tools that are out there? YouTube is just a library of information. And I can tell you, you are one truth, one idea away from your next financial breakthrough. So go on to Google and search, and you will find your breakthrough. Guys, looking forward to hearing more and seeing you. Oh, by the way, tomorrow we are hosting my brother. His name is Lebogang Mukubela. Lebogang is one of the youngest. He was on newspapers and TV for being one of the youngest innovators, the first black young professional or young person from Soshanguve, I believe, to start or to invent a smartphone. So he has his smartphone that was invented, and now I think this year he's launching his second phone, which is, I forgot what they call it, but it's in the middle of a top range and a low range, so that people who can't afford really your high-end smartphones can still get access to WhatsApp, Facebook, and other things at an affordable range. He is the founder of Lemong Agency. He's a founder of Mo Ed. He sells like this guy is just busy, and he is wonderful. He's going to tell us tomorrow how we reinvent. He shared recently a story of where he went from a millionaire to being bankrupt. They came to repossess his cars and everything, but now he's back and he's just on another level. On another level. That's who we are interviewing tomorrow. So come and see and join us tomorrow. My leader, I'm just from prayer. Well, you can catch up, Tabi. So thank you for joining, even though you are from prayer. I understand a lot of people actually catch up after prayer because everyone's doing prayer. Don't feel guilty, nothing about it. We really appreciate you. We would advise you to go back from 30 minutes, because we are praying from 0 minute to 30. So from 30 minutes, we start interviewing Millicent. So you can fast forward to the conversation with Millicent. Bye-bye, everybody. Have a blessed evening. Be blessed. We'll see you tomorrow.